going to start with our new chapter, and you're going to notice that I have several standards in chapter 5. There's solve algebraic equations, graphs of functions with tables, graphs of functions with intercepts, graph of functions with slope-intercept form, and 5E is function notation. So you're going to notice that we're in section 3.3. You'll find this in your textbook. Chapter 3, Section 3, and we're solving multi-step equations. Now, this is very similar to what we've already done with hands-on equations, so this should be pretty easy for you. Let's go to the first screen. Notice it's solve and check, but rather than our X and star, we have T. And so you follow the same things that you did before. You're going to notice that the T's that I have in the problems of the notes, they're lowercase t's. If ever that makes you uncomfortable and you would like to use a capital letter as opposed to lowercase, go ahead and plug that in. That's not a problem. The first step in this, of course, is like what we've done before, and that's combining like terms. You'll notice I have 3t and 5t. That will end up giving us 8t. Right? And make sure when you're doing your homework, you write the original problem and then go ahead and work it. So I've got 8t minus 5 equals 11. We're going to add 5 to both sides. And again, you must show all of your work. So I get 8t equals 16. To get t by itself now, we're going to divide, and we divide by the number in front of your variable. So I'm going to divide by 8. So our answer t equals 2. I go ahead and I circle it. Notice that I'm working up and down, just like we did with hands-on equations. There's nothing different. Now to do the check, we're going to do it next to it. So I'm going to write check. And I'm going to write the original problem. So 3t plus 5t minus 5 equals 11. I'm going to take out t and I'm going to put in 2. And notice that I'm using parentheses, just like our hands-on equations. So this should be pretty much review for you. All right, now what we're going to do is we got our please excuse our dear Aunt Sally, kind of by order of operations. So we're going to multiply. So 6 plus 10 minus 5 equals 11. Addition, subtraction from left to right. So I'm going to go 16 minus 5 equals 11. And I end up with 11 equals 11. And you're going to notice that it checks. Now, if it doesn't check, you made a mistake. So you either need to go back to the original problem and work it through again, or you might want to look at your check. All right, so that's the first problem. Let's go on to the second problem. You're going to notice with this, we've got the letter A. Now, this A can look like 9s when you actually write it. So I tend to use capital letters when I see the small letter A. In this problem, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to distribute. So I'm going to write 5A. Notice I have a capital A. I find it might be a little bit easier. So if you want to go ahead and rewrite it with a capital A, go ahead and do so. You don't have to, but it might help. I'm going to distribute. So 5A plus 3A plus 6. Again, what you do to one friend, you must do to the other with that plus sign in between. And that equals 22. Okay. Now we're going to combine our like terms. So 5A plus 6 equals 22. Make sure you combine like terms before you add or subtract. I'm going to subtract my 6 from each side. 8a equals 16. Divide by my 8, and oh my goodness, a is 2. Very similar to the last problem. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do our check on the other side. All right, and I'm going to write the original problem. And again, if you want to just put in the capital A, I'm fine with that. That's not a problem. I find it's a lot easier. I'm going to take out the A, and I'm going to put in 2. Notice that I'm plugging in parentheses wherever I put that 2. Right? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I look at my parentheses. Lo and behold, 2 plus 2, that I would do first. So I'm going to do my 4. Okay. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, parentheses, I took care of that. All right, exponents, don't have them. Multiplication, division from left to right, I have that. So I'm going to go 10 plus 12 equals 22. I get 22 equals 22, and it's a check. Okay. All right, we're going to go on to the last problem, and now we're going to start with some application of this. you're going to notice you're going to have problems like this in your homework. It's going to be find the value of x of the following shape. Now remember that you find perimeter by adding together the length of all the sides of the shape. So if there's a triangle, you add up all 3 sides. If it's a rectangle, you're going to notice that there are 4 sides. They gave you the perimeter. The perimeter is 100 inches. Notice that on one side of the rectangle, it's x plus 5. There's x plus 5 on the other side, because remember, rectangles, their opposite sides are congruent. The other side was x minus 10, so this other side then would be x minus 10 because it is a rectangle. All right, so what you're going to do, if you recall perimeter, to do perimeter, you're going to have P equals length plus width plus length plus width. It is not length times width. That's area. We're doing perimeter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out that P, and you're going to notice that they told me the perimeter is 100. So I'm going to plug in 100 for P equals. Now we got a choice. What's going to be our length and what's going to be our width? And with this rectangle, they don't really tell you. So you get some choice. I'm going to say that x plus 5, I'm going to say that's my width. And I'm going to say x minus 10, I'm going to say that's my length. So what I'm going to do then is where you see the L, I'm going to put in x minus 10. Where you see the width, I'm going to put in x plus 5. And if you want to put in the parentheses, you may. You don't technically have to because you're adding it together. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to combine our like terms. So 100 equals, I've got x plus x plus x plus x. So I've got 4x. And then I take the minus 10 plus 5 gives me negative 5. Minus 10 gives me negative 15. Plus 5 is negative 10. Okay. So I just combine my like terms. Again, you don't need those parentheses. You can if you wish. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add 10 to each side. So 110 equals 4x. I'm going to get the x by itself, so I'm going to divide by 4. And x ends up being 27.5 or 27.5. All right, and the question asked me to find x, find the value of x. So x is 27.5. If I wanted to find the length of each side, I could go ahead then and take 27.5 and plug it in for my x's on either of the sides, and I can actually find out the distance of each side or the length of each side. All right, that is it for today. Make sure that when you do your assignment, make sure that you also check your answers. You can check them on your iPad under selected answers, or you may also use my textbook. The assignment then for today is going to be on page 151. We're going to be doing problems 13 through 23 odd. And then I have 27 through 31 odd and 33 to 35. Again, make sure that you check your answers when you get done. There are a handful of you that you have not completed all the work from the last chapter, so you'll need to do that. I also have a handful of you that also have an incomplete, and I need that all that stuff done by the end of the week. I should be back tomorrow. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know at that time.